Welcome to the blind zone. What is the blind zone, you say? It's something that happens all of a sudden, or it's something that you refuse to see that was right in front of your face. Now, today, and again, I say this every time, I have a very special guest. It's my cousin, Tori. But we're going to talk about a topic that I really think she is very good at. It's her entrepreneurial skills, but I'll let her say a few things about herself, and then we'll get started. So, welcome to the blind zone, Tori.
Thanks for having me. I don't exactly know how to talk about myself too much. I do like
Oh, I'm
to
sorry.
be the center of attention, so I don't know why I don't like to talk about myself. But, I am 56 years old. I've owned a few companies that have been successful, and I've always been a person to be in charge of everything that I've done. So, I think that's helped me be successful.
Yeah, and yes, and because over the years, and we were kidding about this before we started, but as I say, she's my cousin, and I babysat her when she was just a baby, and we both have scars from the event, but we're not to talk about that anymore. But yeah, so one of the things that really drew me to want to do this story is let's talk first about your education. Where did you go after high school, and what was your degree in?
Well, right after high school, I stayed in my hometown and I took my time and got my AA degree at the community college. And it took me 7 years, because I worked full time during the day as an activities director in a nursing home, and then worked my way up to assistant administrator of the nursing home, and then decided I needed to go away to college. So I did that. 7 years later, got my bachelor's degree in speech pathology, and then at University of Central Florida. And then I went to University of South Florida to continue my master's degree and decided that wasn't the field I wanted to work in. So I changed it to gerontology, and I earned my master's degree in gerontology.
See, but in all of those fields, the speech pathology and the gerontology, and even working at the nursing home, I mean, those are all things where you're working with people to help them make better. I don't know. I don't want to say better choices for themselves, but to help their lives be better. Would that be true?
Of course, yes, definitely. I always liked to have a job where I would brighten someone's day, and especially the nursing home. I loved walking in there and greeting all the patients every day and giving them a hug and, doing what I could to make their lives better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because I know the gerontology, and I remember when you worked at the nursing home, and but again, everybody was busy with life, so I wasn't keeping up with you as well as I should. And I'm hoping that you didn't get the gerontology so that when I got older, you'd have to, take care of me. But
You are older, so there's that.
that's true. But I'm not ready for the nursing home yet.
Not yet.
No, but
We'll
did I?
talk to Eric about that.
Yeah, did I tell you Eric found me a nursing home and he said it's near the alligators and I bought you some bacon wrapped slippers so that when you go
Yeah.
outside for a walk, it's like thanks. But
He makes sure to give you a little dog too, just in case the alligators don't like bacon.
that's right, we'll throw him a treat. Yeah. So maybe this hasn't turned out to be so pleasant of a conversation because I don't think he was kidding. Anyway, so but as long as I can remember, you've always done entrepreneurial things. Now I thought it was a lemonade stand, but you corrected me on that. So even as a kid, what were some of the kinds of things that you did to endeavor to just earn some money but still be practical?
As a kid, um, before I was old enough to drive, I worked with my friend that lived in the neighborhood, and we passed out flyers and to help out people with, you know, housekeeping, yard work, painting their lawn furniture. That was scarred in my memory forever.
Why was
Different
that?
things like that. And
So,
then babysitting.
oh, yeah, I was not a good babysitter. I only tried that a few times before I recognized that wasn't the foray to which I was gifted. So, why did the painting the lawn furniture scar you for life?
Oh, you have a 14-year-old spray painting metal lawn furniture, not knowing that the paint you couldn't just wash off your body when you so the spray paint got on me in many locations, and I had to scrub it off, and eventually it wore off on me.
Yeah, because I remember cousin Kathleen and I painting my bike in the backyard with paint brushes and the same kind of thing. What? This isn't water soluble? Anyway, so then you move on and you have these jobs. And what kind of entrepreneurial things have your companies that you related to? So what kind of companies have you started and been successful with,
Well,
I guess?
after being administrator of assisted living facilities here, uh, it got to be very, very stressful. And I decided to not do that anymore. And I started another company called Adult Care Referral Service, where I helped the elderly find assisted living facilities and nursing homes that met their criteria, their financial needs, physical, cognitive, you know, demographics, everything. And then I would help them find a list and take them around to all the assisted living facilities and let them tour it and see which one best fit their needs. That was my first company, and I did that for I think five 5 years. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
But that was very successful. Now, had you heard about that before, or was that something you thought up on your own because you looked around and thought, oh, especially coming out of a nursing home environment, thinking, how do people find these things?
Right. Yeah. And they might look around and look on the surface of facilities, but there was other things that I did to, I researched how many what their rating was, and how many deficiencies they had by the state, how many complaints they had, everything like that. So I helped them with all that. But yeah, it was a very helpful business. I decided not to do it anymore because I had a 1 year old, or she was a little bit less than 1 year old, and I couldn't really drive her around with the elderly people
No,
looking at
yeah,
places.
yeah.
So I noticed that there was a huge need to for companies to make themselves aware to the social workers and case managers that work with the elderly. They are not familiar with facilities, home health agencies, nursing homes, and all that, because they're, stuck in the hospital doing case management, or, they're stuck in hospice, not able to tour all these places. So I decided to start another company where I would bring all these social workers and case managers into one room, and these companies can let them know about themselves. But on the other hand, they're also the least appreciated profession in the elderly healthcare. They work, social workers and case managers probably work the hardest out of the industry, besides nurses also too. But they they don't get any recognition for the job that they do. So I decided to do an appreciation luncheon for them. pay for their lunch. I made all of my sponsors bring door prizes, raffles, anything they can do, bring them gifts and all that. And they loved it. They really enjoyed it. So I decided to keep doing that in different cities. And it is definitely a huge success because they leave there thanking me, saying, "Oh my gosh, thank you. We don't get this. I wish we could do it all the time." They've never been to an event where all they're there for is to feel appreciated and get spoiled. So that's my satisfaction, is them leaving there happy.
Because I know it started out. Now, well, I don't really remember all the real details, but you're in Florida, so you started there.
Mhm.
And how many did you start with?
I started with 4 in the first year, and then I added on, I think, right, like 5 more the next year, and now I'm up to 28, uh, 16 in Florida, and then I do North Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Georgia.
So how do you pick these other places? How do you capitalize on knowing where to find this population?
Right. I just do a demographic research. I look at how many home health agencies, skilled nursing, hospitals, hospice, anywhere that would employ social workers and case managers. If there's a huge number around that city, then I talk to sponsors to see if they're interested, and if they are, then I add that
Okay, and
membership.
about how many people show up to one of your events?
It ranges from 150 to 450. It depends on what city.
Hmm. So 450. Now, what city would that have been in?
Miami.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And so, what kind of things do the sponsors and who might the sponsors be? What are they sponsoring?
They are home health agencies, elder law attorneys, nursing homes, hospices, funeral homes, anywhere that gets the word out to social workers and case managers.
Okay, so they'll just fit together because one helps the other,
They do.
and so then it's
My
like,
biggest sponsor, my two biggest sponsors are Mom's Meals, which provides meals to the elderly in their homes, and they're pre-made meals specific to their diet, and they can do any kind of diet. And they do, and they're pre-made. All they have to do is just stick it in the microwave, and they get to choose what meals they want. And then the other big sponsor is Senior Living Guide, which is a online publication to that lists all of the facilities and companies that the elderly would need.
oh, see, now that would be super helpful. I know that, many, many years ago, my mom's been gone since '01, but just prior to that, my sister and I were talking about we had no idea if my mother was going to need a nursing home, where to find all that information. And then we had to look at her insurance needs, and it was
Uh-huh.
overwhelming. And so because I know that when you had started showing the nursing homes to people, I thought, man, that's a fabulous idea. And I think that caught on a little better. I think that there's genuine people who do that now. Is that true?
Yeah, there's many companies that do that.
But you were like an industry leader in that. I don't think it had really been out there before you had done it. Is that correct?
There were sporadic companies doing it, and then it just took off a few years later that there's there's multiple companies doing it now.
Mm-hmm. Well, sure. I'm sure they saw that just the trajectory of gerontology, where
Mhm.
that was going, that there was a necessity
Right.
for that. And it's just like every other niche thing, the elderly people who are dying need hospice and that. So, but there's good people that fill that spot. So that's a good thing. So have you ever had any company fails?
I did sort of, I wanted to do a website uh, that was called My Eternal Message. And it was for people that had a loved one die, but the person that was in the process of dying, or you didn't even need to have any uh, prognosis of dying, you could just set up individual, private, secured messages to people. And after you passed away, they could uh, read or watch a video of that person's message to you specifically.
Oh, see, now that, I don't know, I have to think about that. But I think in some cases that would be very comforting, unless the person says, and now that I'm not here, I'm going to tell you off, kind of thing. That would have
That's
been
probably why I thought of it.
that would have been my mom. My mom would have said, "Are you still wearing that horrible dress?" The thing that you know. So, but that's we'll
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah.
That's a different.
We just things just got in the way, and I never pursued it. So I just it didn't take off. So I let it go. But I did start a nonprofit called Pink Ladies Charity, and I raise money for women going through breast cancer. And then I have helped other women that don't have breast cancer, but they have cancer. If they need any financial assistance for non-medical bills, and I provide some financial assistance for them through this charity.
Wow, and how long has that been going on for?
I've been doing that for 4 years.
Well, because sometimes I see you on Facebook and you're doing some tennis something, and you mention that. So how
Mm-hmm.
is that linked together?
Yeah, I do a big charity tennis tournament in October for Breast Cancer Month, and that's where most of the fundraising comes from, is that tournament. And then I do at my events, I do a little fundraising thing at each event.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're just a whirlwind, and it makes me look like a slacker just sitting here doing the blind zone talking to people.
You've had your moments.
And we're not mentioning those just yet. That's true. That's true. So, what do you see in the foreseeable future? How long do you think the eventing is going to be doing for you?
I don't know. I love it. So I look forward to Mondays. Mondays are my favorite day of the week almost because I love to work. So um, hopefully for a long time.
Because so what does your schedule look like when you say that? So how many months do you do this now? Is it year round? Is it what is it? Is there a specific time frame?
Well, it used to be I would do the events March, April, May, September, and October. Um, but since COVID hit, we didn't do any in 2020. So everyone wanted to have the events sooner than later. So now I cram 24 events, I'm sorry, 25 events into the end of March, April, and May. So, and the beginning of June. So it's really March, April, May, June. I cram all those events in, and then I do a few in October. And then we just work year round on booking the next year and advertising and getting it all ready for the following year.
I was going to say because there's a lot of planning with that. You just don't wake up on Monday and think, "Geez, I'm heading to North Carolina Friday to start this whole thing."
Now that the day of is the easy part.
Yeah. So about how many people work for you now, helping you with this adventure?
I have two other people.
Because I know your mom used to help you until, until thankfully technology stepped in the way and she didn't have to stuff envelopes anymore. But that was
she loved it. She loved stuffing envelopes.
even if she didn't do it correctly. But she would tell me that every time I talked to her, oh, Tori brought over 600 boxes of envelopes and I stuffed them.
Yes.
And then after a while,
I don't
she
even
said,
do mailings anymore.
yeah, that's what she said. Tori doesn't do that anymore, so I'm out of a job. But and I know
She
she
got
was,
let go.
Yeah, she got pink slipped. Yeah, but again, I know she really liked that, and she was really
Yeah.
proud of you for all the stuff you did, and for all the ways that you were active in your community, and the thing that I've noticed over the years is that you're loyal. You're loyal to a fault, that you will help somebody and help somebody and help somebody. And I have to tell everybody this about you. You have a really great sense of humor. I was a party to that over the summer, which we're still laughing about, but we won't mention that either.
Oh, that memory
Yeah, that
was
was funny.
awesome.
Yeah. So, but why do you think that's so strong in you? Just the wanting to be helpful, and because my sister's a lot like that. When David was going through cancer treatments, she would go around the room. Can I get you anything to drink? Do you want a snack? And I'm sitting there thinking, they can see the boxes right there. Let them get their own snack. But, but that's just the
I
difference
think it's
between us.
hereditary too. You know, my parents taught me the right way to do things and all
Well,
that.
yeah, your
And
dad
they
was a
taught me my humor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Your dad was a funny man. Now your dad is a very hard worker, and your mom was no slacker. In fact,
Yep, they both were. Yeah.
your mom and my mom, they were twins, and my mom did not get the hardworking gene like your mom did, because your mom was very adventurous. Flying a plane
Yes.
and doing all this stuff, and I think that that helped you along too. That she didn't really look like she was limited at all, and I'm sure she never encouraged you to be limited either.
Right. Yeah. They definitely encouraged me to start working early and make my own money. And I started a job at 15 and haven't stopped working since. But they always encouraged me to do that. And they uh, helped me buy my first house at 22 years old. And yeah, they were always helpful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what happens next with the breast cancer and cancer awareness stuff? Do you do anything more with that, or how do you even advertise that?
Well, it's a local event here in my county. So I send out emails. I have a huge database of over 1,000 tennis players. I advertise that, and then I um, advertise getting sponsors through Facebook and different businesses. I put posters up
Mm-hmm.
in local that all the tennis clubs around.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest event tennis tournament in Pinellas County here, so it's very well known anyway. So
Okay, so part of that drives itself because of just
mhm.
what it is, who's running it, and because I'm sure, I mean, when I would visit you, you only had no less than, oh, I don't know, 100 people coming in. You're very, very popular. I see you all the time on Facebook and all your friends and stuff. So you're very popular because you're very personable and and you're very likable. So, why wouldn't they want to help and, help people struggling with that issue?
Right, yeah, it's a good event. It's a good charity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, is there any other thing that you want to tell us before? Because this has been great for me. I knew most of the details, but again, when you hear it in context, it's a lot more helpful.
Well, and I just want to say I'm super impressed with you starting this adventure. This is very enlightening to me. I love it.
Well, I was teaching 3 Bible studies, which I love, 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 because I have a master's in biblical theology, which I always throw that out like, so I have to make sure everybody knows that. And so I was told to stop doing that and start doing this. And it was a little scary at first, but again, I have a production manager, Kelly. She stuck with me. And so I just enjoy getting to hear other people's stories and see what things I can learn because of the people that I have on. And when we were
Mm-hmm.
at the Cousins reunion in the summer, I had told you, oh no, you're going to come on because you have a really good story with your entrepreneurial and just again, your heart for people. And so I just wanted to help spotlight that. And I know you said it was hard talking about yourself, but I think that the good you do speaks for itself. So I just wanted you to help showcase that a little better.
Well, thanks. I appreciate the confidence.
Yeah, yeah, and we're gonna have another cousins reunion, so I'll make sure you're not invited.
I'll be
Kidding.
busy.
That was funny. Anyway, no,
No,
that was
that was fun. I loved getting to know everybody.
yeah. Kathleen and I are gonna go up in next April to see Dexter and Willow because those were the two funnest kids. They were just they were crazy. Anyway, that's an aside. So, is there
Yeah.
anything else you want to say before we conclude? Because again, I really do appreciate all the insights and what you're involved with.
No, thanks for having me.
Okay, well, thank you for watching The Blind Zone, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Sounds good.